I've been looking for a copy of this game for over 20 years, and I haven't been able to find it until today. See, Harmonix is a game company I may have a mild obsession with, and this is their very first game. It's a completely unheard of PC exclusive called The Axe. To date, it's sold less than 300 copies, and if you want to find any information about it, you need to dig through manuals, forum posts from the early 2000s through the Wayback Machine, and interviews with developers of other Harmonix games. So of course, we're going to be doing a pretty big deep dive into this one. Some context. Harmonix was opened in 1995 by Alex Rigopoulos and Aaron Egazy. In the later years, Alex was pretty active in the Frequency and Amplitude online forums, which I'm pretty sure is how I heard of this thing's existence. In the 90s, Alex and Aaron used to hang out together and create a bunch of weird music software, with the goal of creating a software that allowed the user to create music like a musician, but without the skills of a musician. Being the mid-90s and this sounding like an absolutely foreign concept, nobody was willing to hire them. So they started their own company, and Harmonix was born. The Axe isn't exactly a game, nor is it a toy. Harmonix describes it as a new kind of musical instrument that needs to be mastered. Though this isn't exactly true, as the game will automatically keep all the notes in key with the song that you choose. That being said, it's up to the player to play the game in a way that makes the song sound good. In a weird way, it feels like a 26-year-old prototype for what would eventually become Drop Mix and Fuser. There were multiple editions of the Axe released with 12 songs on each of them, including Titans of Classic Rock, which is the one we're going to be looking at, The Axe Grooves, and Introducing the Axe. All versions other than Titans of Classic Rock can be considered lost media at this point, but at least we do have one version to take a look at. Harmonix was planning on expanding this project way further than this, with additional CDs released often on their website, but I'm unsure if any more were produced. I've messaged Alex Rigopoulos, and if I get a reply, I'll let you know in one of the next Harmonix reviews, so make sure you're subscribed. The game works like this, so you've got 4 buttons that you can activate. You can see them down here. Let's start with the play button, which is activated by holding the left mouse click. On the screen, you can see a plane that allows you to drag the circle left, right, forward, or backwards. Moving the mouse left and right controls the frequency or the pitch of the note being played. Left for lower octave, right for higher octave. Moving the mouse forward and backwards causes the note to be played more and less frequently, as well as automatically switches them up to make it sound good. If you're up in the top right, playing a super fast and super high phrase of notes, it'll sound like you're ripping out a sick guitar solo. Check it. So you do have other things to select other than play. We've got the sustain button. The sustain button is activated by holding the right mouse button. What this does is pretty simple. Instead of playing a bunch of notes, it just holds one note. Moving left and right sounds similar to a whammy bar on a guitar. The notes that get played here can go out of key, so it's important to keep it in key manually if you're holding the sustain note still. If you're playing an instrument, yeah, there's an instrument selection, we'll get to that. If you're playing an instrument that doesn't let you pitch up and down like vocals or a piano, moving the mouse left and right rapidly will create a tremolo effect instead. The next button is a little bit more complicated. If you hold the sustain button and then press the play button and keep both buttons held, moving forward and backwards will change the timbre of the sustain note. For example, on the electric guitar, it'll change how much feedback is added to the note. And on a synth, it changes the brightness of the note. If you jerk the mouse to the left or the right while holding a sustain note, it'll create a rip effect, a flourish of fast notes. Next up, we've got the riff button. You can activate this by holding the number 3 on your keyboard. This is the coolest thing in the world. Basically, it looks at the notes that you played with the play button previously and will automatically create a looping riff based on what you did. When you're playing riffs, you can only control the pitch, not the speed. Last up, we've got the effect button. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's the same thing as the play button, but with an effect on the instruments and the notes. On a polyphonic instrument that can play multiple notes at one time, like a piano or a guitar, the effect button plays chords instead of notes. If it's an instrument that can't play chords, the effect button will do something different for each. On the sax, for example, it'll play a growl sound. And on the trumpet, it'll play a trill. Alright, instruments. So there's 8 instruments you can pick from. We've got an electric guitar, jazz guitar, piano, a Rhodes piano, saxophone, synthesizer, trumpet, and obviously, Scat Boys. There isn't any way to play more than one instrument at once in the single player mode. Despite a pretty cool replay feature that allows you to save your remixes, export them as WAV files, and email them to friends, I don't believe there's a way to take that remix and then play another instrument over top of it. A bit of a missed opportunity. It would have been really cool to have that ability and create your own music, even with a blank slate with no licensed song template to work off of. But hey, it was 1997, and these guys made this thing in Macromedia Flash. It's really impressive. If you do want to play 2 instruments at once, the multiplayer mode allows you to do just that. In multiplayer, one person uses the mouse and keyboard while the other uses a controller to each play their own instrument and work together to make the song sound good. Getting a controller and mouse working in this game at the same time wasn't possible for me, but if you have the knowledge and want to try it, you just need to install a Windows 98 virtual machine, grab the game from the link in the description, and install it. Kind of interesting, once it's installed, the game icon is a Fender Stratocaster, which would later become the Rock Band guitar. Let's talk about scoring. There aren't any scores in this game. The goal is just to play an instrument in a new and fun way, but without any real musical talent. We would need to wait for Harmonix's next game to get a real video game out of them. This is just my opinion, but even though it sold tremendously terribly, I'd imagine it helped Harmonix in pitching a demo and getting funding from Sony for their next game, the PlayStation 2 exclusive, Frequency. Alex mentioned that the Axe did help get their pitch to Disney for their Connect game based on Disney Fantasia, another great game I'm excited to do a review of. With that said, I'm going to be starting a project where I look at every game and the complete history of Harmonix from the very beginning to what may very well be the end. If you want to keep watching these and any other pieces of gaming things I find interesting, the subscribe button's down there and it helps me out a ton. Overall, I think the Axe is fun to play around with for an hour or two and then forget about it. So it's easy to see why it failed to garnish more attention with Harmonix's ambitious 90s DLC plan. But still, the Axe is an absolutely crazy piece of both gaming and music history that really shouldn't be forgotten. But for now, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.